reconsider why you're doing what you're doing. If you're not all in, if you don't really believe that that's your calling and this is your talent and this is your gift, go find what is, because life's too short.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes. If we're talking about the end user, I think us as business owners need to understand that we're thinking about that. So like communication is different in that. But like also to your point with our teams and how things are changing so much. And we're just in this giant change that's happening. And I think that because of, things moving so fast, there can be this instability element where we need to be incredibly stable with all these things. So I think for us to be really thinking about all this stuff, how do we leverage the technology? How do we do this with our team, with our clients and stuff, but also like being real cognizant of the fact that, hey, a lot of this stuff is new and intimidating to people. So like we might not know a lot. And how are we going to communicate that to our team, to our clients and everything else in a way that's like, don't worry about it. Everything's cool. We got it. And, keeping those two elements kind of separate almost.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on when you look at how this affects automation, how this affects insights, risk assessment, personalization, reduced operational costs, conversion rates. I think it's the effective integration of channels across internal ops, sales, marketing that are all crucial. Yes, but they all also have a human factor to them that we all still drive towards. Our brains that are however thousands of years old, we still go to sleep at night telling ourselves stories. We gravitate like moth to a flame to stories.
Yeah.
So with all of this digital tech and it's confusion and it's chaos and it's fog and friction, don't forget about the head and heart of human beings and why we're doing what we're doing and why we're coming together. So whether you're in the leadership of the big insurance company trying to realign to your workforce, or whether you're just someone out there listening on this podcast that's trying to figure out what they're trying to do in life or what insurance they're wanting to go with for their car or health insurance, gravitate to a brand that gets you and has in the dense fog of this digital space has somehow reached out to you in your space, in your place, in your time, in your language. That's key. That's key.
Yeah, I love that. And then on the inverse of that, it's like, how can we create those places that have that same attraction? Yes,
absolutely.
Super cool. Dude, I love you military dudes. It's so awesome. Seriously, some of the best insurance agents I've ever seen, and I've noticed this, were ex-military. It's just very, when the way you guys talk about teams and leadership and how systemized things are,
it's like we modeled the things that we do in our agency after the way that military people do it because it's so systematized, right? Like that, it's the only way. Then you don't have to. It's not personalities, right? It's just like, hey, this is the way it works. If it doesn't work for you, that's cool. Just not going to work here, right? Like,
well,
this is the system.
That's that making the implicit explicit, because as you know, kind of in the military, things are very structured.
Right.
What's good about that is it allows a foundation of clarity and empowerment and mindset for all the other environmentals that are ever ending and ever changing. So they can be hyper focused on doing their job right and working very much in a collaborative team. And that's a key, because look, you guys know, and I know, and all the listeners out there in the insurance industry, no matter what type of insurance you're selling, someone else is selling the same thing and it's probably pretty close to the same price. but why are they going to buy it from you? Why are they going to buy it from your brand or your organization or you? And those are the compelling questions that you have to ask yourself before you get out there and start, being responsible for people's lives because they entrusted you with their insurance, and they're, I think we make a living by what we get and we make a life by what we give. And that's key, that we should all be thinking about that every day.
I love that. Yeah. It is crazy. Super, super good food for thought.
It is. It makes you pause. It makes you pause.
Yep.
And I think to that point, like I said, we all came out of this pandemic. Clearly you can see I lack passion and I'm quite introverted.
Yep.
But people have had 2 years to quantify what's important to them.
Yes.
And that is global.
Right.
And that is really changing up things right now, with the workforce and with leadership. Workforce is expecting far more from their companies. And frankly, companies, because the pace by which we're moving in a digital space, they expect far more from their workforce. So, there's this constant tug and pull, and it's only the ones that are able to find alignment in this digital space that you see that are really thriving, and in a lot of them, as we know, are starting to fail, and fragmenting brick by brick.
It's almost like the pandemic was this reset button,
Yeah.
It was like this, stop everything right now, and we're going to all freak out for a second, and then let's see who's going to go for it,
Yeah.
And a lot of people went for it. I mean, we went for it. A lot of people tucked and hid, and they're way behind now, and hopefully they can catch back up.
Yeah, there was definitely
a huge opportunity.
It was like the Maslow's hierarchy of need. Like people really became self-actualized, and started really looking within and what really matters, right? Yeah. It's like everybody thinks that. That's why, we've had many discussions recently about just working remote versus working in the office. I think there's huge benefits to both. I think that, and no fault to anybody, but I mean, these are the questions that we have to ask now. And just people want different stuff, and we've been retrained, and now it's like, okay, these are the situations and experiences that we've all had. And now the old workforce is just not the same. And we need to evolve with it. I think that's why we're having a lot of these conversations as well.
Brother, you're spot on. I told you, we get the opportunity, whether it be in Bastion Transform that's aligning, heads of organizations and their workforce, or whether it be Bastion Agency in its totality that's aligning brands and their target audiences or consumers. You said something that I'm seeing it so clearly is you got many brands that have come out of this pandemic and they're trying to point the finger at, we all need to get back in the office, or no, we're 100% work from home, or we're some hybrid thereof. And the unfortunate part is that's where they're trying to put the head on the platter and put the blame, when unfortunately it's a far greater fundamental issue than that. It's a far greater issue, from people to process to our intrinsic motivations to, as I discussed, clarity and empowerment and mindset. And as much as they sound simple, oh man, they are complicated when you're talking about a complex organization with complex structures and
with people.
Right?
I mean, dude, mindset with people, like shifting mindset is breaking cognitive dissonance. It's extremely difficult.
And then you exacerbate that by taking people in workforces from different ideologies and different backgrounds and different experiences and different technical capabilities and emotional responsibilities, and you merge all that together. Wow, that it takes a lot. And I think, to your guys' point, I'm forever grateful of maybe starting my journey with leadership in the military, because there's an organization that can take people from all different backgrounds and ethnicities, and they don't care whether you're rich or poor, black or white. Catholic or Jew, it's interesting to come into that organization and you would all die for each other and you all wear the color blue, or green or whatever branch that you're in. So I forever am grateful for that opportunity then, but it's definitely set me up now to help organizations really recalibrate and realign in this fog and friction of no longer, well, it's war, but it's digital war,
100%. Yeah. So let's, what are the probably the biggest problems that you're seeing across organizations as like trends? A couple of the biggest problems, and then a couple of the, solutions of how they're making the biggest progress.
Yeah, great question. So for me, when you look at trends in the insurance space specifically that I think are shaping the need for a digital transformation or an insurance company, whether they're large or small, that haven't quite made that transformation, 3 key things are really kicking out. Number one is usage-based insurance. That's kind of changing the game. On-demand insurance and integration of IoT, or for those out there who don't know IoT, Internet of Things. And, McKinsey put a stat out there. In 2008, there were more network devices than there were people. By 2010, consumers owned about 12.5 billion of network devices. And there was only about 6.8 billion people out there. And in 2025, we arguably, we're at about 8.2 million people, whatever it is. We're at about 50 billion in network devices. So the network devices are going categorically off the charts. And, that is the transfer, that what that boils down to is it's the transfer of unquantifiable volumes of data that is provided to third parties for real-time analysis, for triggers for insurance, for providers to alter offerings or services. And that is unprecedented. That is a space we've never lived in or been in. And I don't think everyone was really quite prepared for. So, as far as helping companies make informed decisions as it relates to trying to do transformations, I think what a lot of companies will care about, whether the listeners want to hear this or not, but, insurance companies, is risk assessment. What's the P&L and what's the EBITDA of a big insurance company who's underwriting all this from a risk assessment standpoint. And the other one is conversion, net new revenues, pricing comps, coverage options, and lastly, communication. And communication, what I mean by that is the omni-channel communication with B2C, B to consumers, or B2P, B to people, as far as communicating to them in their space, in their place, in their time, at the right moment when they need insurance. What scientists do you go get to help you figure that out? It's all of us are trying to figure that out together. That's uncharted space, but that's the space in which we're in and where we're going. And people can either, like I said, either choose to do something about it or play the ostrich and watch the amount of turnover that they're going to have in their workforce. Yeah. Because people, employees of insurance companies are far too wise now of what they expect and what they want. They're very clear and speak with conviction, sitting at home for 2 years with a homework assignment on what's important to you.
Yeah, I think that I think it's interesting. I've been like, one of the things that's been rattling upstairs over the last year is this whole like the way things are going so fast with technology and AI and everything. It's giving the littler people, the littler business owner, the smaller business owner, that maybe even the solopreneur, enough tools where they can operate like a large company, but they're going to be a lot more closer to their clients, their products and everything else. So their decision making is going to be able to be quick, adaptable. And I just see so much leverage for the small business owner. But on the opposite side of that, I see, because of that, you have these larger corporations with multi-layered management and stuff. I don't know how they're going to keep up in 10 years, even 2 years, to be honest.
Isn't it interesting? Like the solopreneur is going to be, it could take down Goliath.
100%. I think so.
Well, I mean, I gave you some of those examples. You saw it. You saw it in Uber. You saw it in Netflix, and now they're becoming the insurgent turned incumbent. But I think you're spot on, brother. That what is happening is it's fixing the competitive arena for incumbents to actually have a chance, including poor customer engagement, limited growth in mature markets, trends of digitization, automation. A lot of the incumbents or insurgents, they didn't have the capability. They couldn't compete with the larger ones. And now there's that opportunity, and vice versa. It's the David and Goliath. The bigger you are, the harder you fall if you don't start updating these systems. But I continue to say, if anyone out there listening gets one thing out of what's come out of my heart, mind, and soul today, it's that as much as things change, as much as they stay the same, yes, we can go from manual and analog to automated, but unless you are still capturing the hearts of your workforce or your consumer with some type of connectivity and relevance that hits an emotional impact, you can navigate the digital highways and retarget, remarket somebody on their cell phone all day long to get their insurance business. But if you don't have a compelling story as to why, you're lost in the fog and friction of the chaos of all this. There's another 50 coming right after it. You've got about 3 seconds of their attention span to make them raise their eyebrow and press pause on the smartphone and read a little more about you or your service or what you underwrite or why your value is so much better. So there's got to be that human instinct that we can't forget about as we rocket launch into this digital space. I call it networks and narratives. You can't have one without the other. The digital drug and the compelling story that makes us cry or laugh or hug or embrace or have a cup of coffee together.
Yep.
I love it.
So just a wealth of information, Dax. It's incredible. A lot I think I'm gonna have to listen to this like 5 times, as should all the listeners. And just awesome. What's one thing that you would drop as the mic drop for an insurance agent that's wondering, what's one thing I should do right now with all this crazy stuff that's going on? The one thing to take action on.
They're not going to want to hear this.
Even better.
Reconsider why you're doing what you're doing. If you're not all in, if you don't really believe that that's your calling and this is your talent and this is your gift, go find what is, because life's too short.
Yeah. I love that.
Like I said, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. You guys did it. You guys went out and started your podcast. Like, don't succumb to fear just to pay the bills. If you one of my mentors is one of the most passionate guys that sells health insurance or life insurance I've ever met in my life. It's all I can talk about. It's all I can breathe. He believes he is helping legions of people, and that's great and that's good. But I would just say to the listeners, if you're out there and you're just doing it to go through the paces, don't, because you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing your clients a disservice. If you believe in it, if you believe in the gifts and what you're doing and how you're helping people, you'll thrive. You'll thrive. Just get a little smarter on what's going on with all the tech advancements and keep that same authenticity and passion, and you'll go far in the insurance space.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dax, how can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me at daxc@bastionagency.com. You can go to Bastion Agency, Google it. You'll find our website. You can contact me there. Very happy to have anybody reach out to me, or you can just Google me on LinkedIn. There's my number. There's my email. I'm happy to speak to anybody.
And
awesome.
That's Bastion
Yep.
Agency.
Yep. Bastion Agency.
Cool. Love it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dax.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. You are great brothers, and I just wish all those listeners out there happy holidays. Embrace one another and just enjoy some of this time ahead that we all desperately need.
Love it.
100%. Love it, man. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You too.